The Zephyr with incontinence pads underneath it. Not known for oil leaks, but now it's sprung one. Let me talk you through what's happened. There's a gaping hole where the airbox used to be, so that is now gone. Will return because the rubbers that go between the airbox and the carbs had deteriorated to such a point they were just allowing air in, and the bike was running really, really badly. So as a stopgap measure, because these are really, really expensive, if you look them up on the internet, you'll think they're $39.99. They're not. They're more like 140 quid. You can get them a little bit cheaper, but they're copies. So yeah, pod filters for the moment. There is obviously still a problem. They have improved things, but we're going to modify them today to see if we can improve things further. We have an oil leak. Let's see, drip, 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 drip. I only noticed it after first road test. So the bike can now go to 70 miles an hour quite happily, but then bogs down after 70. And then upon my return, I noticed some drips. And a very wise person on Twitter spotted. I just put some photographs up. I was tired that night. So here's your cam chain adjuster here, and there's the locking screw, and the locking screw has decided to leave the premises, thus spewing a little bit of oil out. So it's gone over the starter motor and then down the other side of the engine, and oh dear. So I'm hoping that Debbie's going to arrive today, and her job is going to be, part of her job is going to be to find a replacement locking screw, maybe with a bit of PTFE, and then tidy this all up. Also take these pod filters off and restrict them. And by restricting them, I mean 3/4 cover them with, I haven't pulled the tape off. They're actually silver, I haven't pulled the tape off. I just wanted to fit them and try. The bike's looking pretty wholesome. It's been a good machine. We're just having that problem with the rubbers, and they are just so expensive to get. They're 50mm rubbers. These were like 15 quid delivered, so I thought, well, £15 so I can carry on running the bike. That was my thoughts. Oh dear. Look at the mess it's made. Ooh. That's not a Kawasaki straight. It's just ordering a new set of spark plugs and doing some research on these carbs and what other Kawasaki's might use these exact carbs, apart from the there's two other bikes that use these carbs, apart from the my brain defeats me at the moment. I've just got too much. I've got information overload at the moment. So I happen to have found that a set of carbs for a Zephyr are about 500 to 650 pounds. Now I happen to have found an exact set of these carbs for less than 100 pounds for a different Kawasaki. The only difference is the jets. The rest of it is the same, and it doesn't have these pipes. Interesting. They might be purchased, but also then it kicks me in the nuts because I have been offered a ZX7 in blue. And the ZX7 in 2004, which means I could swap bits between the two bikes to do fault finding a lot faster. So what's the deal? Kawasaki Zephyr's cooler than a ZX7? No. I'm going to go meet it today. Got Debbie helping me today.
But it might vibrate loose.
Do you think it'll vibrate loose?
Well, it's very
loose.
Smooth in the thread.
I'm open to suggestion.
Well, I haven't bottomed.
PTFE, washer, I'll do what you want.
So it doesn't.
So we've settled on a little screw with PTFE and a washer. There's been a few to choose from, and we kind of worked out that this one's got enough length to push against the cam adjuster, but PTFE is the backup plan just to make sure no oil gets out. So these are the two. That one was too long, and you can see how far it goes in. That's the oily section. That's looking really nice. but it stuck out too far. And I didn't like the that bit there, collar. This one too short. Nice. So what we're doing is we're covering up the pod filters so that it has a restriction. This one's not quite ready. So what we're doing is we're using tape to cover up the pod filters so that they are restricted in what they can suck in, because the bike's clearly getting too much air. So an example is tape's all the way around it, but that's the only opening it gets for the moment. So what I've done with this one is I've put the intake on the bottom just in case the bike gets water thrown on it or something like that, and I'm hoping that this amount of restriction will help the carbs breathe a little better before I can I've got simple green, alcohol and a few other things coming to hopefully rejuvenate the original rubbers because they're so expensive, but it's weeks away. So here's the Zephyr running with the restriction, all four pods. That is sounding much better. So it's getting way too much air. Road test. So here I am on a ride out. The Zephyr sounds so much better, runs so much better with those pods covered up, so it can only get a little bit of air. They actually could do with a little bit more restriction, but now it's warmed up and it can rev up. It couldn't do that before, it was bogged down and just be an absolute pain. So, fantastic, that's really good news. Happy days. Now we're figuring out carburetors. I hate them too, but until I get new rubbers or fix the old rubbers, not a lot I can do. Pretty cool. So the Zephyr's all pumped up. I've got a set of new carbs coming. These pod filters that are just amazing. That has really transformed the motorcycle. I am going to take its front forks off. As when I last worked on it, I noticed some issues, and I'm going to take them to an engineering company, and we are going to rebuild some of the fixings for them because I don't like them. Yeah. So the thing that's been bugging me about the forks is I'm just loosening off the caps. Is right under here. So the fixings that go under there that hold the entire fork together have been destroyed by the previous owner, and all I did was lightly nip them up. So I'm full of regret that I didn't take the opportunity, or I didn't have an opportunity to replace them. Couldn't find any replacements. Now I do. I'm going to take the lead, get these off the bike and get some of the fixings replaced so that the forks are more stable, safer. I'm not saying they're not safe, but I'm just like unhappy with them. Well, this is a faffer. I remember this one from last time. Just makes sense to release the fork caps now. There we go. Rather than having to put the stanchions in a vise later on. So that's just the 2 fork caps done. Oh, I pre-cracked them off in case you're wondering. What's nice is when you've been somewhere before, everything generally undoes really well. Makes the job so much easier. I always remind myself I should put my gloves on. Speedo drive. Oh, that's got to go. Yeah, released. And then keep it pushed down. So go. Thank you. And caliper off. Another caliper. Just removing the front wheel. And now release. Releasing slowly. How's that? Is it fully down? Released. Yeah, perfect. Thank you ever so much. Oh, nice to have a little bit of help. Fun I had last time was with these. I think it was twisting out. There we go. Oh, lucky. Twist. It's like a 90 degrees twist and then they pop out. Calipers can hang, they're okay. I just had to release the hoses from these little holders. I've got to get the speedo out from here. And then we're in a really good place. There we go. And then we're in a really good place to safely remove both of the forks. Now that I've undone the top fixing, these two are the only things holding the stanchion, or the fork, onto the motorcycle. You don't actually have to withdraw these all of the way. Just make sure you get your bit all the way in. And did you see the fork release? I should have filmed it better. But the fork's now released and I can just remove it. Nice and easy. There she blows! Could try and film this side a little bit better. So all I'm doing is getting my bit in. Crack them off. Get the bit in as deep as you can. Crack it off. And then get the bit in. And the fork releases. As you can see, it's gone walkies. Off it goes. There we go. Bit of a balancing act for me. Lovely. And that's the Zephyr legless. So here are the jets from the Zephyr, the original jets with the bent emulsion tubes. And we're just taking our time to finally free this one, which was not behaving well because of a little chip on the side of it. So I'm going to go on the internet now and see if I can find some 92s and some 88 for Cahane carburation carbs. And then these tubes won't be reused, but I've got new emulsion tubes in the carbs. But the jets, I think they're for a Zephyr 550.